over.
Yep, sounds wonderful. First of all, I'm really sorry if I get interrupted. I'm still at work, as you can see behind me. There's not many of us left, but just letting you know if I somehow drop off the chat for a second, it's because I'm saying goodbye or get the hell out of here, please. So obviously, for those who don't know me, my name is Liam. I've recently just taken over the Brisbane-based Goal Umpire role, mainly the training side of it. And then I'm working with Darren, who is in our Brisbane area, and I think he may have just jumped on, hopefully. He's running the appointment side of it. So, yeah, essentially my role is more of the training aspect. So I'm not sure what your level of goal umpiring is. I know I can see Connor and Tan on here. Obviously, they have a little bit of experience in that field, so this might be a little bit irrelevant for them, but if they still want to be here, that's absolutely fine, because the things I'm going to go through tonight are really just the basics of goal umpiring and what is a goal umpire essentially, and what do we do on match days. So I'll see if I can figure out how to share my screen so we can go through this.
I might be able to do it. No, you've got it. Perfect.
Can you see? Yeah?
Yeah.
Wonderful. All right. So what is a goal umpire? Essentially, the role of a goal umpire is to be the final judge on all scores, as well as basically just to record all the scores that happen on match day, and then forward these to the field umpires to process in their match day paperwork. So what is our duties as such? Other than our number one role of getting the score, how do we get that? So first of all is judging, obviously, whether it's a goal, a behind, or out of bounds on the full, or just out of bounds. And I'll show some vision in a second of what our signals look like. So signaling the goal umpire or behind has been scored upon being given the all clear or touched all clear by the field umpire. This is a really key thing. We just don't want to go ahead and give our signal if we don't have that all clear, because often things can happen, and I'll show you an example in a second of what I mean by that. And then, so once you have made your decision, make sure we're recording the goals and the behinds scored by each team during the match. That would obviously be done on your scorecard. Due to the lateness, I don't actually have a scorecard on me, but I'm sure in the next couple of weeks we can go through that as well. I'll just quickly jump to number 5. The last one is assisting boundary umpires to determine whether the ball is out of bounds. So that's another one of our decisions. And then something we have to do probably less often, but is still a key role, is reporting a player or an official who commits a reportable offence. So I'm just going to quickly jump on and show you some vision of what our goal and our behind signals look like for those who are unaware. Once again, I need to figure out how to do that. All right. So because I didn't want to throw anyone else under the bus, I'm going to throw myself under the bus with some vision. So I'll start off with our goal, which is probably our primary decision. Sorry, hold on 2 seconds, guys.
Did that video work pretty okay for everyone though?
We're starting.
A little bit laggy, yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
no worries.
Sorry, guys. Sorry, I just had to.
At least you told
Did
us
the-
you were going to interrupt
Sorry.
us. It's not
Hopefully
a
that's
surprise.
the last interruption. Okay. Now I'll try and share this again. Everyone. Did it work, everyone, or was it a bit laggy? Or
Yeah, it was starting to.
okay. Well, hopefully.
Here we go.
So just letting you know, the vision is about. We're about to do the goal signal. Yeah. So pay close attention to the person in green, me. Okay, so that's our goal signal. Very basic, 2 hands. Salute. I'll quickly jump back and show you guys. Did everyone see that okay?
Yep.
Yeah, wonderful. Does anyone have any questions around that? I mean, I guess if you have some form of knowledge of AFL, these are probably a little bit basic, but it's good to go through these. No, cool. So I'll go through what I spoke about waiting on the all clear. Let's internet out. So just give it a second to roll through. Okay.
Liam, we've lost audio from you, mate. We're still seeing the footage.
So I've gone up to the line because I've seen it's a goal, right? It's gone through the 2 posts. It's a goal, okay? So I've gone up, and now at this point, I am waiting for the all clear. Field umpires number 7 down here and 29, which I think is Frank, are deliberating on what the decision is. So now number 29, Frank, has turned around and given me the all clear, which is 2 hands up, which is then why I have signaled. Does that make sense to everyone?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Cool. I'll go through an out of bounds for you, for everyone, because even some quaffle senior umpires still get slightly confused on which is which, and it is, in the quickness of the moment, can be quite challenging. So the ball's been kicked out, and at this point you can see, I don't know if you can see my cursor or not, but you can see this here is the boundary umpire. Right, so when the ball goes out, he is not going to have any clue really on if it has gone out or what the decision is. So this is where we as goal umpires need to support the boundary umpire. Okay, so I'll wait till it goes out. But you can see my hand is upright, like the boundary umpire would give the decision, which is 1 arm up, blow the whistle. So ours is the same process. So outside arm up, and then we're waiting for either the boundary umpire to signal that it's out of bounds or the field umpire to recognize that. And then back to your spot. So I've had it in a game, and Connor, if you're still there, do you remember in Macravat in round 1 of this year, what happens if the boundary umpire or the field umpire don't see that we have given that out of bounds signal? Do you remember it, Connor?
I remember it faintly. That happened to me. God, that was so long ago. No, I can't remember.
That's okay. So essentially what happened was Connor has done the correct process of going out to the ball to assist the boundary umpire. He's given the out of bounds. The field umpire or boundary umpire has not recognised that. They have not seen that. So play has continued. Because I don't even actually, now that I think about it, we didn't have boundary umpires in that game. So play continued. A goal was then scored. So could anybody tell me what the correct process would be in that instance? It's okay if you don't know, just...
Well, for
do you
anyone who
think?
knows me, I would have yelled out to the field umpire by name and got their attention and still had my hand up in the assist position.
Sure, but what if play continues? Do you need to get back to your spot, or do you stay where you are?
No, you've got to take position so you can make the correct call.
Correct. So what would be our processes once the goal has been scored?
Consult.
Correct. So for anybody who is new to goal umpiring, a consult is obviously the goal's been scored. We would then go take 2 steps out of our goal space, call out the field umpire's name. If you don't know the field umpire's name, just yell field umpire. Do anything to get his or her attention, and then step back into your space behind the goal line and just talk to him and say, I'm just letting you know that it was out of bounds on the last play, or something along those lines. That would be our correct process for going about that. Does that make sense to everyone?
Okay.
I'm getting a few puzzled looks. Does it make... Yeah? Yeah?
Mm.
Cool. Wonderful. All right. And then just for the other process, I'll do an out of bounds on the full. So, oh, actually nobody can see that, can they? All right, can everybody see that all right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, cool. So this is our out of bounds on the full process. Well, it's a bit tricky to see, but exactly the same process as before with the out of bounds, but instead our arm is out wide rather than straight up, because that's exactly the same process as what the boundary umpire is. Does that make sense to everyone?
Mm.
Yep, cool.
In that scenario there, the field umpire would be hard pressed to see the goal umpire's outstretched arm. So it might be wise for the goal umpire to just bring that arm around slightly as well, so that the field umpire can see it.
Correct. So in this instance, I think we had boundary umpires in the game. The boundary umpire might be a little bit further up. But if that was the case, our process would be for me to come out here.
Yep.
Just a little bit further, so the field umpire can see that. Often the field umpires will have some inkling on it. And I guess we're just there also to reaffirm that. Are we all cool with the out of bounds and all our signals? Does that make sense to everyone?
Yep.
Yeah, cool. All right, I'll jump back onto the PowerPoint. All right. So judging the score, what is a goal? So a goal is scored if the whole of the ball, completely crosses the goal line after being kicked by an attacking player and does not touch any player or goalpost in the process. So I'll repeat it again. A goal is scored if the whole of the ball, not just half of it, not a quarter of it, not 3/4 of it, the whole of the ball has completely crossed the whole of the goal line.
That's it. That's what we
after
tell
being
you.
kicked by an... Sorry?
That's what we tell our kids. The whole of the ball over the whole of the line, both for goal and
Correct.
boundary.
So not half of it,
Mm.
the whole thing is kicked by an attacking player and does not touch any player or goalpost in the process.
Yep.
Yep. And just not in the PowerPoint, but I also just want to provide clarity. Kicking, the specific term kicking, is knee and below. So not thigh, not arm, knee and below.
Can I share a funny story there, Liam?
Yes, go for it, Tam.
I was umpiring at Cooperoo one night in a final, and I was in my position straddling the line, and the ball, the players were all there, and the ball was literally halfway across the line. And I'm still straddling, I'm still down in the position, and no one kicked the ball, and I'm still straddling. And finally, one of the Cooperoo boys go, oh, and he's kicked the ball over the line. But if any of the defenders had have touched that ball and picked it up and gone, it would have still been a live ball. It was like everyone had assumed it had crossed the line, but it was literally sitting halfway across the line. So I just had to stay straddled, waiting for someone to do something.
Hands behind your back. That's it.
Yeah, and that's but I mean, sorry, John, did you just say putting the hands behind your back?
Yeah, it's just to indicate that the to the field umpire, in Tan's case, that the ball is still in play and no score has been made, so play goes on.
So we don't necessarily want to put our hands behind our back in that situation.
Okay.
The only time we would want to put our hands behind our back is to indicate to the field umpire that there has been a mark.
Okay.
In and around the goal line.
Okay.
Does that make sense to everyone?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah? Cool. Just shout out if anyone has any questions or anything, or if I'm going too quickly or whatnot. All right, so the same thing, but a behind. So when the ball goes over the top of the goalpost, which is a very odd thing to happen, but has happened before, or hits the goalpost, the padding, or any attachment to the goalpost. This includes flags. So if the ball is going past and hits your flags on the way through, it is classed as the post.
I got asked that question by a player at Maryborough in the reserves on Saturday, that exact question. What if the ball hits the flag? And I said, well, in that case, it's hit the post.
Correct. It's hit the post.
Mm.
So this is why I always tell my Brisbane guys, and what I have also been told in the past, is when you put your goal flags in the padding, to try and either put it inside the padding so it's not visible, or to have it as close as you can to the padding.
Yep.
I know in some grounds and some situations that's pretty impossible, but trying to get it as close as you can to inside the post padding.
Do any of you guys carry Velcro tags to go around the post so you can slide your flags in behind?
No, so normally we just use like electrical tape or something.
Oh, okay.
That
Bunnings have great Velcro straps that go around a goalpost beautifully, and you know two on one on the other, and all your flags fit behind, and then you can keep the flags out of the sight of play, well behind the padding, but easily accessible.
Yeah, no, and if that works for you,
Works great.
That's really good. Yeah, that's good. Back to the PowerPoint.
Sorry, Liam, just on the post pad, ideally we try to match the electrical tape with the post pad color.
Correct.
Try to blend it as well as we can.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, absolutely. So if it's a white pad, like it is in this picture, we want to be using white tape.
Gee, okay.
We don't like ideally when you can use the same color tape.
Mhm.
That is the color of the padding. We don't really want to be putting on pink tape or purple tape or red tape on white post padding. We ideally want those flags to be pretty much invisible.
Yep.
If we can. Obviously, if for whatever reason you don't have the color tape or whatever the post padding is, obviously that you can't do much about that. But I know in my kit bag that I take to match days, I have like a Tupperware container full of electrical tape with different colors and whatnot. And normally I go to similar grounds each week, so I'm pretty aware of what color is what post pad, if that makes sense. Where were we at? Oh yeah, so and then when the ball completely crosses the behind line after being kicked from either team, so that doesn't matter whether it's defend or attackers. So once again, it's the same as the goal process. The whole of the ball completely crosses the whole of the line. Yeah. And then same with this one, when the whole of the ball crosses the line, it can be either punched, touched, or carried through from any player from either team across any of those 3 scoring lines. Does that make sense? That was a bit wordy and confusing, but
yeah, that's it.
Yeah. I think we might just skip that last one. That's a bit complicated for the moment. And yeah. So judging the score. So ball out of bounds on the full. So the ball is out of bounds if it hits the post after having been touched, punched, or bounces prior to hitting the post. The ball is out of bounds on the full if the ball, after being kicked by any player from either team, and then hits the behind post on the full or goes over the top of the behind post. Or obviously, if it goes out of bounds on the full without hitting the post, not necessarily just if it hits the post. Positioning, probably our second most important role, obviously, to get the score. To get the score, you need to be in position, really. The goal umpire should be positioned straddling the scoring line for a ball which is likely to be kicked, touched, or contested on or near the line. For example, I'll show you what they mean by this. Just need to find which example it is. So this is the vision I showed before. So at this point, I am aware that the defensive team here, number 13, will be within range to contest, kick, or what was the correct wording? Kick, touched, or contested near the line is the correct wording for that. So I'll roll the vision. So at this point, I'm aware that I need to straddle the line, which was the example in the PowerPoint picture. So right now, I'm in best position to see that. I know it's going to go through for a goal. I've got enough space between the goalpost and the ball.
Yep.
So I'm fairly comfortable with that. But now I just need to work out whether he's going to touch it before or after the line. Does that make sense to everyone?
Yep.
Cool.
Please tell me that he touched that after the line.
He did touch that after the line. Well and truly. And I was at Morningside the weekend just gone, and for those who don't know Morningside well, this area is not the deepest, and I had exactly this same situation in the reserves, that the person has come flying through to try and touch the ball and has then crashed himself into the fence. This guy got away with pretty much nothing, but the guy I had on the weekend was going full pelt and hurt himself quite badly, which is obviously not ideal. But also another reason we don't want to continue to be where I am in this situation. Can anybody tell me why I would not want to, other than to see on the line, but can anybody tell me why I wouldn't want to continue to be behind the ball?
Well, you'll get crunched.
Danger.
Correct. Yeah. So, yeah, other than to contest the line and to see what's happening on the line, we don't really want to be behind that. I don't want to be getting slam tackled in the middle of a game. I'm not out there playing the game. I'm playing for a reason.
That's it.
Self-preservation is a strong motivator, Liam.
Oh, yes.
Absolutely. Could not agree more. So, and the same situation. Yeah, so ball bouncing along the ground towards the line, we would need to be on the line where this person is in the example, to see balls fully cross that line. And by the looks of that picture, that line is the most straight line I've ever seen. But we need to be able to see whether the whole of the ball has crossed the whole of the goal line. And then a ball kicked at goal, which is being contested on or near the scoring line, as we mentioned, and then a ball dropping in flight. So say if the ball's kicked from 50 metres out, and it's going to be touchable height for the players, we want to be in this 98% of the time, we want to be in this position where he is right now.
Yeah.
On either side of the post, depending on which side the play is, if that makes sense. So if the play mainly is right here, if anyone can see my cursor, we don't want to be standing there. We want to be standing about where the photo is being taken. But if the ball's on our close side, then we obviously want to be on the far side. Because once again, we don't want to get poleaxed. And for example, and obviously by the looks of it, most people here have had some goal umpiring experience. And through the high performance space at the moment, we are working to be able to use what we call the alternate position. So the alternate position is not standing here or on the other side. Our alternate position is standing on the other side of the goalpost, using the post and the padding as protection for us.
Yep.
Does that make sense to everyone?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Okay. So
Sorry.
if for some reason, or like if you've picked one side and for some reason the ball has come closer to you, then that's where we would want to jump behind the post and use the padding and the post as our protection. Because they're not going to hit us, they're going to hit the post and the pad first. And then that's going to be their problem and not ours.
Liam, with that photo you have up there, where he's standing right now, that's what the alternate position is, based on where the lines are.
Oh, it is too. Oh, well, if he turned around, it would be the alternate position. Yeah.
Mm.
Okay, so forget the lines you see on the left-hand side. Just where let's at this moment pretend that's the goals. I did not even notice that. Thanks, Connor. Let's just for this sake pretend this is the goal space right here.
Yeah, but that wouldn't be the alternate position because you'd actually be facing away from where the ball's coming through. That's actually if you know, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
why I said if yes, and now that I look at it, it is a bit weird. He's doing a behind straddle, which I won't go into right now because that's way too complicated and not something I also feel comfortable doing, and I've been umpiring for 4 years. So forget that he's standing in the behind space. Let's go at the moment he's standing in the goal space.
Yeah.
Does that make sense to everyone? I didn't actually
There's another post behind him.
Sorry?
I'm sure there's another post behind that post. I think he's in the right spot.
Yeah, so it looks like there's one post here.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. So he's technically standing in the behinds, looking out to the behind post.
Ah, okay.
Which, as I said, I won't go into yet because I don't feel comfortable myself doing it behind. I don't know about you, Connor, but
sorry, Liam. How do you
Sorry?
guys go with regards to the sun in terms of which post you're going to straddle against, so you get the best view? I mean, when up our way, Harvey Bay, Wide Bay, the position of the sun can have a real big bearing on just how much you can and can't see. As to decide which post you're going to back up against to straddle. Don't often get a lot of time to decide which one.
No, absolutely. So I was at Morningside on the weekend. It's probably one of the better grounds for sun, but in the afternoon at 4 o'clock, that sun is coming over. And if you look one way, you're looking straight directly into the sun.
Absolutely.
Happens
a lot up here.
Obviously, personally, I believe shouldn't affect your call. This is where obviously we have our hat and our sunglasses to make that, and we can always put our hand
to
block.
Yep.
We want to be making the best call in terms of left or right, which side you want to be on, based on which side the ball is going to be. Because if you pick the side that with your back to the sun and the ball goes over that side, you're more likely to get hit.
True.
Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I think as much as it is a bit of a pain, where you can avoid it, don't think about the sun. You just need to go to which way is correct. Wonderful. So this is, they finally got the right way this time. He's standing in the goal area. So positioning, the second part of our positioning is being under the flight of the ball. So positioning needs to be directly under the flight of the ball. This helps us to correctly determine whether the football in flight, well above touching and contesting height, has gone through the goals, over the top of the goal post, or through the behinds. Does anybody know, other than maybe Connor, does anybody know what the correct process is for the ball going over the behind post or the goal post? Sorry.
Well, for me, I just shout over the top and indicate either a behind or out of bounds on the full.
Yeah, okay. So in that situation, we would over the top, over post, or something like that is great. That really helps the players, particularly, get a sense of, yes, it was close, and yes, it has gone over the post. I also had this question at training on Wednesday night in Brisbane. Do we hit the post when it has gone over? Does the question make sense?
I've never done that. I've just called it out.
No.
If it goes over the goalpost. Yeah. So if it goes over the goalpost, we signal to behind.
Yes.
Do we hit the post or do we go and grab our flags?
I say over the top and I tap my shoulder 3 times.
Yep. And then you signal?
Yes.
Yep. And then do you go and grab your flags or do you hit the post?
No. Don't hit the post at all. I just yell over the top, hit my shoulder 3 times, indicator behind, and go for the flag.
Yep. Wonderful. I had the question on Wednesday. Do we hit the post if it is gone directly over the post?
I would say no, but...
And no is the answer to that question.
Mm-hmm.
Because it technically has not hit the post. So does the positioning make sense to everyone on where we need to be?
No, that's good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. Right, we all good?
Good.
Yep.
All right, that's it. Does anyone have any questions or comments or anything? Or did you want me to show more vision, or because we are a little bit early, so...
No, that's very good.
No? Is there anything, just so I can get a rough sense if I do in the next fortnight, does anybody have anything that they would like me to show, like me to run through specifically?
I would love, Liam, for you to explain the one that you didn't explain, where the player takes the ball, carries the ball across the line and then comes back in through an alternate post. Because I swear only last week I had a player bring the ball. He went out between the goal post and the behind post. He was about to kick back in between the goal posts and his teammates went, go back. We've got to come back before the goal post. And I went, dang, it was going to be my first time I ever gave a behind for that.
So, okay, I'll go through it. Most of you seem to have some idea of goal umpiring, which is wonderful. I'm not going to confuse the absolute hell out of anyone. So I'll explain the rule, and then I'll explain something else in a second that happened on the weekend. So what Tan is talking about, and I'll get the PowerPoint presentation up so you guys can... Okay, no, don't worry about that actually. So what Tan is talking about is when a player marks the ball, for in this example, crosses over the goal line, has completed the mark, you've put your hands behind your back, has gone back out of play through the goal area, and then to play off.
Frozen.
We're never going to learn the right answer. It will forever remain a mystery.
There we go.
Give him a moment. I think maybe just with the video, his internet's maybe gone out.
Bearing in mind he's still at work, he's probably been interrupted again. So.
I just text him, so hopefully he comes back on. He said he's trying.
Isn't that what you say about Liam some days, Michael?
No, not really.
He's a good lad.
Actually, he was very, very clever. He picked one up on the AFL yesterday.
What's that?
Well, the guy marked the ball. Oh, he's back up again. He can tell you. Yeah, it's
We just can't hear you, Liam.
You good?
Yep.
Yeah.
Good now.
Sorry, I have no idea.
That's
I
better.
just dropped out. Sorry. The joys of doing stuff from work and not home. I don't know what happened, but I'll just go back to where I was. So player has taken the mark, gone back across the goal line, and then has played on through the behind area. What would be our decision in that process? I just want to get a feel of what people would think.
You'd probably,
John, what would your...
You'd go mine
Yeah,
and signal one behind.
Yep. John, what would your process for that be?
That's a good question. If he's already marked the ball in the field of play before he's crossed the line,
Yeah.
is it not still a mark?
No, yep. So he's marked it, gone back across the goal line, and then played on through the behinds. What would your process be? Would you just let it go?
I think I would be indicating that that was a behind.
Yeah. Anybody else? Who else? Sharon?
We've actually had this, and yeah, we did. We signalled it was a behind, so.
That's right.
Yeah. Cool. Wonderful. So that...
We also had one where they took it. We also had one where they took the mark and then went back through the behind area, then went out on the out of bounds area, like around on the boundary line.
Yeah, correct.
That's right.
So we've had both.
Yeah.
You're going to confuse people.
Yes. So I'm going to show you an example. I don't know if it was mentioned before while I was having internet issues.
I was about to.
Okay, wonderful. I'm going to try and do this because it's on my phone, so I don't know how well this is going to work, but I'm going to give it a red hot crack. Can everybody see that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. I need to be able to push play. So you can see he's run over and everybody see that?
Yeah.
I'll go again.
It's very good pickup too, Liam.
Let's run through and run through the other scoring line. So, and this is where I really don't want to confuse people, but I also got a little bit confused in this situation. So that you can see in the vision, the AFL goal umpire did not call that a behind.
Wow.
But that in the AFL was the correct decision. So if you see that happen in the AFL, often it is correct. So I messaged the AFL goal umpire coach just for some clarification around it, because I saw it, thought, why is that not a behind? Because in all levels of football, that is behind. But I'm just going to read straight from the text message because I still have no idea why. But anyway, and keeping in mind this only happens in the AFL. So in all community levels of football, we still call it a behind or out of bounds, depending on which way. So in the AFL, since it was marked in the square, the field umpire then set the mark and asked the player to come around and straighten up. He then went around the post to do this, and so was technically under the control of the field umpire. He was then called to play on.
Uh-huh.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It does.
It does, because he's doing what he's been told. He's come around to where that field umpire's told him. But in the instances where we normally get it, they're just backing out and then coming back through a different area. So
yeah,
correct.
It depends.
So in this instance, I've had a look, and for those who want to go and have a look and have some way of accessing full games, it was the Gold Coast North Melbourne game with about 3 minutes to go in the third quarter. So from what I can see on the vision, the field umpire was telling the North Melbourne player, the attacker, to step back. I actually personally didn't believe that he was talking to the Gold Coast Suns player or the defender at that point. So this is why I'm still a little bit confused as to why that wasn't called.
I think you need to see it probably quite a few times, because the field umpire should be telling the guy on the mark to go back to the 9, rather than
correct. So
aligning them up.
If you have a look, it's really hard because this is not on my phone, but it's not. I don't know. Can everyone see that, or is it a bit bright?
Yeah, it's a bit bright.
No, what I saw was him coming and kicking through the goal square, but I didn't see the earlier play where he's actually carried it across the line.
That's right.
So I don't know if this is
just
working.
keep it there.
Yeah, that's good.
That's better. That's better.
That's
So-
good. Well done, Liam. Oh, look at you.
Player is
Savvy.
crossed, but when we come out to the wide shot, have a look at, I think it's a laney on the I don't know if that's the left or the right hand side at this point.
Yep.
But can everyone see the field umpire?
Yep.
So from what I gather, and I don't know what everyone else thinks, do you think that that person is controlling the Gold Coast Suns player or the North Melbourne player?
I'm thinking the North Melbourne player. She's telling him to get back to the
Well,
9.
it should be out of the protected zone. So, yeah.
So
Didn't you say that they said he came through the goal? You go back a bit further. He never enters the square at all.
No.
I don't reckon.
That's true.
I reckon they got it wrong.
Yeah,
honestly, that was my thought, but I didn't really want to ask.
yeah, I agree with that too.
I reckon they got it wrong. He hasn't gone through the square. He's just ran around.
Yeah.
And he can't claim momentum's carried him over the line because he's still running.
So he could have stopped it a lot earlier than that.
Oh, heck yeah.
But also, even in that scenario, if they were claiming momentum, the field umpire would then, his best obligation will be to call it back and reset that situation.
Yeah.
That's what we should have done.
And it's hard to tell, and if you have a look at it again, might be a bit hard. But if you have a look at the goal umpires, it might be a little bit difficult. But he actually looks at the field umpire a little bit to see what's happening when the person crosses through.
Yeah,
You can
right
see
there.
he takes a look at the field umpire.
Yeah, and I think he feels okay.
So I think he almost thought it was. So
Yep. But if the field umpire's called play on, so be it.
Correct. So
That's right. He's in charge.
And I guess in those situations, our best obligation, putting that aside, our best thing to do would be to call mine and a behind. Or wait for the all clear and then
Correct.
call behind.
Yeah, that's what we
That
would do.
be our-
Call
correct.
mine
That
and
would
call
be
a
our-
consult.
Correct. And if you want to call a consult, that's absolutely fine, but you don't necessarily have to call a consult. If the field umpire is happy and he's seen that the player has crossed over a different scoring line to play on, then we can just go with that. Now, does that make sense to anyone? Everyone? Does anyone have any questions?
Nope.
That's great. Thank you, Liam. I'm glad we raised that while we had time tonight.
That was a good one. That's a good one.
Cool. Is there anything that anyone wants to go through in the next month or so specifically, other than that, so I can prepare some vision and have more than 30 minutes at the end of my work day to get some vision out? No?
Good
Not
job.
I think I'm right about now.
Well done.
Cool.
Good job.
And if anyone has anything, just maybe give Chloe an email or a text or whatnot, and she can pass on.
Absolutely.
So what we'll
Cool.
try and do is, because I know that the videos were a bit laggy, so when I send this link out to everyone tomorrow, I'll actually send links to the videos that Liam would have referenced. So he was using video links from Huddle, which we use down here in Brisbane. I'm not sure if coaches and whatnot use that up in the other regions. And I'll also try and get the link to that North Melbourne Suns game, just so you can sort of see it a little bit better as well. But we will aim to have that sent out tomorrow. But if no one else has any questions, we'd like to thank you for joining us, and we'll see you in a fortnight.
Terrific.
Okay.
Thanks all.
Thanks, Chloe.
Thank you.
And,
Guys.
yeah.
Well done,
Bye, folks.
Liam.
Bye.
Thanks.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye.
Liam,
Yeah.
is it possible, since I'm doing